I'm leading the show. Boom. Perfect.
Mark Miyashiro, right?
Aloha.
It's good to have you here. I'm personally excited because I know enough about your story to know I'm super interested. Okay, you have one of these stories that I just kind of feel like people nowadays don't have that cool of stories. I'm going to be honest. But a lot of people nowadays, their struggles aren't like that of the past. And I'm always intrigued when it comes to people in the past and their stories. So, Mark, I just want to know, just take it from here. Where would you start with your story?
Well, shall I talk about my last name, Miyashiro? Mm-hmm. Okay, when my grandparents came here, the kanji or the character is supposed to be Miyagi. Mm-hmm. But the guy doing the recording of the names put,
He was like,
Miyashiro.
What's a last name?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So all the guys from the same prefecture got that name,
But it's really Miyagi.
Miyagi. So if I go to
Interesting.
Okinawa, my homeland, it's Miyagi.
Interesting. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, is that where did you grow up exactly?
Okay,
was
so-
it Okinawa or
No, so I was born here. My mom was born on Kauai. My grandmother was born on the Big Island. So I'm like third, fourth generation here in Hawaii.
Right. Why did you guys come here in the first place?
Okay, my great-grandfather was in the Russo-Japanese War. And he got shot in the cheek, and the bullet landed on his tongue. And he came to the conclusion that his son, my grandfather, would not serve in the Japanese draft. So he sent him to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And my grandfather worked in the cane fields as a water boy.
Interesting. I mean, to be honest, a bullet to the face, I'd be like, I'm done with this too. You know what I'm saying? Nobody needs to go through this. We're good on that.
Yeah.
No one needs bullets to the face, right? That whole situation with the war in Okinawa, I don't know a lot. Okay, I don't know a lot, but I do know that there is some form of, I guess you could say like animosity or tension between Okinawa and Japan and Japanese culture. Like what?
Yeah.
Can you explain like what that's about?
The Japanese consider Okinawans dogs. You know, they call them lazy, drunkards, womanizers. I mean, you know, they're like the scum of the earth. So they don't even consider them being human, but dogs.
Yeah, like a subclass.
And so there's always been this animosity. But what happened in the Okinawan immigration thing is they banded together. And Japanese, we always say that the Japanese are not united, whereas here in Hawaii, we're called United Okinawan Association. So the Okinawans, because of the persecution, they united together and they helped out each other in business, in life, and that's how they got ahead in Hawaii.
Wow. That's interesting. You know, because me speaking objectively, like as an outsider and relatively new to Hawaii, I'm not going to lie, everything kind of blends in. So for me, I wouldn't even know that there was even such a thing as an turmoil between, in this case, Okinawa and Japan.
Yeah.
Which is insane. So that happened, right?
Yeah.
There was war. Your great-grandfather was like, screw this.
Yeah.
We're not doing this anymore.
Right.
And that's how you guys are here right now.
Yes.
Okay. And you have a book
Yes.
that pretty much is illustrating everything that we're going to be talking about, Olympic Grill, right?
Right.
Okay. So where does your story begin in the grand scheme of things when it comes to Olympic Grill? Because you have a story, man.
Yeah.
So
Shall I go to another and then come back to the book?
no, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to 2009.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I have a mental illness. I have schizophrenia. And I went to see my therapist. And we were talking about then President-elect Obama. And I saw a speech that he gave in 2008 in which he mocked God and the Bible. And he quoted different scripture in the Bible.
Was that the speech where he was like, what are we going to use to govern our stuff? Is it going to be Leviticus? And then he started like quoting, right?
Yeah.
I do remember that speech.
So he was mocking God. And so I got upset and I told my therapist, well, maybe he's the Antichrist. And what I should do is get a slingshot, shoot him in the neck, and see if he comes back to life. Now, he was president-elect. He wasn't president.
Not even the man yet.
Yeah, but he was elected already. Okay. So, I don't know, 3 weeks went by, and I'm sitting at home, and all of a sudden, here comes a knock on the door. And it's the Secret Service. And they come in, no warrant, no nothing, and just sit down and ask me all kinds of questions. And then next thing I know is they're searching the house. So in the house, my wife has a registered SKS rifle. It's registered now. And I have 300 rounds included with the firearm. So they haul me off. You know, I go to downtown. They arrest me. They book me and everything. And next thing I know, I'm in federal detention center. And so I don't have money. I don't have money to hire a good attorney. So I take the public defender. And he tries his best, but I realized that the charges that I was charged, 97% of the time, the feds will win against you. So I'm looking at 5 years for the firearm violation. And for every round of ammunition, that's 300 rounds, serving a year.
That's crazy. That's ridiculous. And it all came from these, to go back a little bit, it all came from these comments that you made to your therapist.
Right.
Like, how was it that was even possible? Because I would assume that when you talk to a therapist, there's some type of confidentiality.
Right, that's what I thought.
There's legal things that are bounding somebody to keep your information confidential. So it's just kind of like, how did that even occur in the first freaking place?
Right. And if you know me, I'm not that kind of a violent guy that I'm going to go threaten the president.
Mark, you're very unsuspecting. Like, if I was a Fed and I saw your picture and they're like, yo, we're going to raid this guy, I'm kind of like, on to the next one. This guy's good. You know what I'm saying? But here they are just going crazy on you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so what happens after this? So they book you.
Right.
And then they charge you for the rounds. They charge you for all these supposed things.
Right.
They saw you as a threat.
Right.
Right. So what happens next?
So I spend time, pre-trial time locked up. So they put me in solitary confinement. And I'm going bonkers. I mean, I don't know. They call it SHU, the SHU, Special Housing Unit. So I was locked up for, I think, 15 days in solitary confinement.
15 days?
Yeah.
How was that? Because not a lot of people know even what that would. A lot of people freak out over 15 days in quarantine with video games and freaking junk food. What was solitary confinement like? It
was horrible. I started seeing things on the walls. I started seeing things in the shower. I started drawing. Oh, that was a problem. Getting a pencil and paper. That was a big obstacle. I couldn't get a pencil and a paper. I couldn't make any phone calls. I couldn't do anything. And the light was on 24 hours a day. So if you're light sensitive, you won't be able to sleep.
Yeah, you wake up and your eyes are like bloodshot, you know. I did a little bit of time myself, and I'll never forget. I was on top bunk, and in when you're locked up, the lights never completely turn off.
Right.
Like even those night lights, it's still on. So I just remember every morning my eyes would be completely bloodshot and hurting because that's all you get is that red thing on your eyelids. So solitary confinement,
Yeah.
10 days.
15.
15
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
And then finally you get out. And then what are they doing with you at this point?
Then they let me into population. So I'm 56 years old. I'm not a spring chicken.
Right.
And so I go into population, and everybody's just pointing at me and making comments and stuff like that. And I'm freaking out. I mean, I get strip shirts. When I went into solitary confinement, I was naked. I mean, talk about every violation you can think of happened, being naked and cold and everything. And so I end up in general population. So being 56, I don't know what to do. I've never been arrested in my life.
Yeah, you didn't do your homework.
Yeah.
You're, you know what I'm saying? You're not a career criminal out here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody else knows the cues and what to
Right.
do. You're over here like, hey,
Yeah.
I guess.
So the guard calls me Slingshot. Hey, Slingshot, come here.
oh, because they know you guys' cases.
Yeah. So my nickname in the cell was Slingshot.
Ain't that a bitch too?
Yeah.
Because realistically, that is why other people were there for their own reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not here to judge.
Yeah.
But here you are,
Yeah.
56,
Yeah.
in jail
Yeah.
because of a slingshot comment for
Yeah.
President-elect
Obama.
Obama.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah. So for a brief while, they allowed me to go to Poilani. It's a dual diagnosis place. So I was allowed to stay there for 7 days, something like that. And then my court case came up. So I get Happy Helen Gilmore as my judge. So I think about it, 97%, I could be convicted. I could get 5 years.
Yeah. They've already gone this far. Like, what's
Yeah.
next? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So I come to the conclusion that I'm better off pleading guilty. So I plead guilty. So I face the judge, and she says, "You're a threat to the free world."
You, Mark,
Yeah.
56,
Right.
is a threat to the free world.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So she sentenced me to 18 months in the federal detention center, 3 years probation. So I start serving my time at the federal detention center. In there, I guess the biggest complaint is the food.
Facts. Facts. I don't know, like, people think that everything is A-okay in jail. Let me tell you something. Those slabs of bologna, did they ever serve you guys like
No.
those bolognas?
No.
Or no.
No.
The food is horrendous.
Yeah.
Never enough to actually fill you.
Yeah.
You got to really depend on, like, commissary.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What was your favorite meal, by the way, in jail, if you remember?
Oh God, I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Something chicken.
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem is getting sick. So I couldn't. There was no oranges. Oh, we could get any kind of apples, but no oranges. Citrus for vitamin C, and there's no sunlight.
I was gonna say the only thing you got is rec, and not all prison systems have a way that it's like an outdoor rec, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're even inside still.
So I don't know if you've been to Federal Detention Center. They're right next to Honolulu International Airport. So all you got is this jet fuel that you can smell all day and all night. And then another thing that bothered me was the noise. When I was in solitary and when I came out to general population, it's so noisy. The yelling, constant yelling and screaming all day long.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle that. I mean, when I finally got the privileges to use the phone, you could barely, have a conversation because all the yelling.
Right. About nothing's probably just people just arguing about absolutely nothing in jail.
Yeah.
Just because they were in there. How did the I'm curious, how did the inmates like treat you? Did you go through like any type of adversity while you were in there? Because you're 56, like what's going on here? What did they think? How did they treat you?
Majority of them were younger than myself. And so they called me uncle. So they kind of treated me with respect.
You got pictures, right?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I see? Yeah.
Shall it?
Yeah. I'm just going to look through. Lo and behold, there you are, Mark, in jail.
Yeah.
You look pretty good, 56 in here, by the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, the Slingshot himself. Did you have like a best bud while you were in there? Did you make an actual like friend, like a bond while you were in there?
Yeah. He was five-time kickboxing champion.
And do you remember why he was locked up?
He was for it was a sexual crime.
What do you think? Because for me, when I look back on my incarceration experience, I think that despite the fact that it was humiliating and I had freedom taken away from me, which it was the subtle thing that I didn't realize how privileged I was just to have simple freedoms.
Yeah.
Right. And it was very humiliating. Jail is humiliating. But for me, there was always that lesson that stood out to me. As bad of a situation as that was, do you feel like there was like a lesson or like the biggest takeaway while you were in there?
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm a believer in Yeshua. And so I asked God, I says, I was thinking of doing a prison ministry, but not this way. So while I was in there, I tried to see some kind of value or lesson from being locked up.
Yeah, you're there. You might as well, right?
So I kept like a journal. Every day I wrote something down. And every day I would pray. I would say, God, why am I here? Why am I being locked up? Well, what is the purpose? How am I supposed to serve you?
I was defending you in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was willing to take a slingshot to the Antichrist.
Yeah.
Now I'm here for you? What's good? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. So I ended up, I'm kind of into Hebrew culture. I've been to Israel 3 times. I served in full-time ministry from 1997 to 2000.
And don't you have, correct me if I'm wrong, because I read a little bit of your book.
Yes.
Don't you guys have ties to Israel?
Yes.
In the first place? Was it your great-grandfather, your grandfather?
Well, on my mother's side, this is, let me just, my mom's side, she's really fair and she has red hair. A lot of Jews have red hair, okay? But my paternal grandmother, she has blue eyes. So some sailor,
like, what's going on here?
Some sailor had a good time in Okinawa, man. Probably a Portuguese sailor had a good time in Okinawa,
Some handsome lad having a ball,
And then she had tattoos. They put tattoos on the women, on the fingers, because they didn't want the women to get raped.
Crazy.
So each prefecture would have their own tattoos. And my grandmother died at 100,
Dang.
And I seen her. She was in Boyle Heights in L.A. And God, she must have been in her 90s or something like that. And when I used to see her as a child, when I was like 5, 6 years old, she lived in Eva, in Oahu, and she would give me 50 cents to go buy ice cream. But when I saw her in Boyles Heights in 1983, she gave me $5.
So who was it that was related in some way that they were Jewish? Because
My mom.
Your mom.
Yeah. So each Japanese family has what they call a mon, a family crescent. And my mon is from the house of David. So from the house of Judah.
No one would have ever suspected. And when I was reading this story, that was the first time I ever heard Okinawan or Japanese Jews.
Yeah.
Like, that is unheard of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I never heard about it. So when I read that, I was just kind of like, that is crazy interesting.
And then about 2 days ago, I subscribed to this Living DNA, and they did a check on my mom, and they go back thousands of years, and they trace her back to Siberia and other European countries. So could be Russian Jew.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So now at this point, you're locked up.
Right.
The Slingshot himself.
Right.
Okay. You said 18 months?
Yes.
3 years probation.
Right.
Okay. What happened after the fact?
Then every time my wife or my mom come visit me, you got to strip shirts.
Yeah.
You know, that was humiliating. So my mom came and visited me, and my wife came every week to visit me. So eventually the 18 months came up, and then I get sent to the halfway house. So at the halfway house, I find out that my mom's dying of pancreatic cancer. And they were kind enough to allow me to go visit her once. So I went and visited my mom in the hospice in Nuuanu. And she says to me, "You are the crown of my glory." And I never forgot that.
Damn.
That's what she told me.
And that was the last time that
Then she died.
you saw her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was allowed to go to the funeral, but as soon as it was done, I was sent back to
the halfway house.
the halfway house. And then several months later, my daughter got married. So they allowed me to go to the wedding. And the same deal, I went to the wedding, and then I had to go right back to the halfway house.
And all of this humiliation, right?
Yeah.
All of this time away from your family.
Yeah.
All of this
Yeah.
is all because of a Slingshot comment
Right. Right.
about President-elect. And it was obviously, and not only that, but it was to a therapist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nonetheless.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, if you had done something wild, I would have been like, well, I mean, I guess you could miss a few weddings here and there.
Yeah.
But all you did was make some comments.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you already had the schizophrenia as
Right.
is. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how long were you in the halfway house?
I think I was there 2 months or so.
2 months.
Yeah, and I got in trouble because one of the guys in our unit was stealing food, canned goods.
Spam? Was it spam?
Yeah.
Tell me, Mark. Yeah, it was spam. That's some Hawaiian shit.
Yeah.
Right
So no matter how much they pressured me, I didn't turn him in. I kept saying I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So I got in trouble with that. So I forgot what they did to punish me, but they punished me somehow. I forgot.
Yeah. So how long after the jail,
Yeah.
right? So freaking therapist comments,
Yeah.
18 months,
Yeah.
3 years probation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In prison. Like that's
Yeah.
that is not escaping you by any means. Every
Right.
time that you try to apply anywhere, do
Yeah.
anything, they're like, yo, Mark, what's going on here?
Yeah.
You were in prison?
Yeah, and
Why?
I have to write down I'm a convicted felon.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah.
And then so what made you write Olympic Grill?
Okay. I had not done a term paper in English literature in college, and the title or the term paper was called "Call Me Ishmael," which is in the Moby Dick character in the book, and I could never finish it. Okay, so 20 years later, bing. I read the Bible and I realize that Ishmael is the first guy that gets circumcised. Bing! So I write the paper down. I go to UH. I go to Professor Winter's office and I slide the paper in. And so my mom, who told me when I was 14 that she wanted me to be a writer, it finally dawned on me that I could write.
Yeah. And
So-
now you have a story.
So I spent 7 years writing Olympic Grill.
Wow.
Yeah.
Olympic Grill. Can I see the book?
Sure.
So you know, I skimmed through it. I really wanted to hear the story you know,
Yeah.
from your mouth. But
Yeah.
Olympic Grill, a lot of the things that really put it into perspective for me was the open and honesty about it.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that when you go through something like that, it definitely peels back the layers of your being. You know what I'm saying? The circumstances of jail, just peeling back everything, all these type of structures that you build up for yourself is just torn down completely. You know what I'm saying? So what made you just once and for all, besides that fact,
Yeah.
and it took you 7 years
Yeah.
to write Olympic Grill.
So sadly, my mom died in 2010. And I self-published the book in 2013, July 5th. So she never got to read the book or know that I became a writer.
Yeah.
So I published the book on my own because I knew I couldn't find somebody willing to help me out. And so recently, what I've done is I've written another book, an ebook, and the ebook is called How I Published My Book for Under $356. And that's also on Amazon, which has my other books.
Yeah, we'll definitely be sharing that in the link below this video, because so many people are like, I want to write a book.
Yeah.
How do I even, you know what I'm saying?
So I hooked up with this live online classes. So I teach how to publish your book, self-publish your book, Wednesdays 2 p.m. Eastern and Saturdays 2 p.m. Eastern. So you can also sign up for that.
Interesting. I love it, man. I've always thought about the whole concept of writing a book, right? But that in and of itself is just freaking like mind blowing. And anybody, and especially the way that it was all put together, you know, I'm not even that big of a reader, but then especially when you started to talk about like the schizophrenia and stuff like that, it definitely pulled me in with your open and honesty.
Yeah.
And again, I appreciate you talking about everything open and honestly, because that is, people end up in bad circumstances all the time. If you think you've had a bad day, you've never had I've been to jail or prison for 18 months type of day. You know what I'm saying? Over a slingshot comment.
We're doing a survey around the country on the way population handles themselves and speaks and deals with their friends and interact with their peers.